If you're a man, you got those little white bumps on your scrotum, you've come to the right podcast. I'm one half of the Brohio podcast. Welcome to the Cream Spot. I'm Joe Rogan, guys. I'm sick of fucking hiding who I am. I'm Mark Maroon, or I'm actually a podcast millionaire, and my name's a Delicious Nickalicious, and I'm here with my best friend from the 6th grade.
I am the original Steve from Blue's Clues, but you can call me Rob Dog. Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Hey, you have those little white bumps on your scrotal?
No, I got rid of them.
Oh, okay. I thought there was I was doing some literature. I was doing some reading.
Yeah.
I think those are called follicles, and sometimes they produce little white bumps on your scrotum.
It just means you have dirty balls.
Yeah, well, I'm here to tell you I do. I'm here to tell you I do. Some nice lady wrote us and wanted to know my skincare routine. She said my skin looks phenomenal on YouTube.
Well, hey.
So I wanted to give everyone my skin routine real quick.
Sure.
I usually wake up for work around 6 a.m. I get in the shower and I blow 2 snot rockets on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Week later, my wife finds the boogers and bitches about them. But nonetheless, that's the beginning of my skincare routine.
All right.
Then I take some Crew shampoo that I've been using for about 3 years and I wash my hair. Then I take a loofah. Probably had it since I was 17, maybe 18. I don't know. I got some Everyman Jack citrus flavored from Target. I put that on the loofah.
Mm-hmm.
I wash my armpits, my balls, and my ass. And I don't touch anything else on my body. And then I get out of the shower. And that's my skincare routine for my face.
Beautiful, man.
Usually about 2 hours after I get my day going, I'll take my my finger, and I'll rub it across where my bottom lip meets my chin, and I'll smell it, and I'll be like, oh, I forgot to wash my fucking face because it still smells like slobber from last night.
Mm-hmm.
But it does a really good job of calming the bumps, the imperfections on my face. That's what it does.
Yeah, you're just not taking it too hard on the old face.
No, I'll take a hard on all over the face. That's not... Don't fucking put words in my mouth, Roberto. God. Yeah.
Just good genetics.
Good, real good genetics. Oh, man. We're at that time of the month where we get 20 new Patreon subscribers, and then they delete it, and then they just leave us forever. Let's...
Good for them. Everybody just wants to hear the interview with the woman with 2 vaginas.
All right. First up, we have Dick Smith. Thank you, Dick Smith, for your Patreon pledge.
Not Wordsmith, but Dick Smith.
I like a good old-fashioned Dick Smith in my ass every once in a while.
And next, I feel like I have to say his name with an old man voice because it sounds like an old man's name.
J.S. Jenkins. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
It sounds like a fucking bank from the Wild West.
Yeah, it's like a fucking bank saloon.
And we have another pornography star, Haley Hughes. Thank you for your Patreon pledge. Congratulations on Entertainer of the Year.
Love your work. Next, we have Alexandria Bell. Thank you very much.
That's a fancy spelling of Alexandria.
Yeah, the X and the Z is a little redundant, but hey.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, nice.
Next, we have Che. Chey. It sounds like a delicious Chinese dish, but it's I think it's just Che or chai. Chai tea latte is pretty good cold, not so good hot. Nonetheless, I get them anyways. That's usually my drink of choice anytime my wife puts a gun to my head and forces me to get a drink from Starbucks. Chai tea latte. Or a passion tea lemonade sweetened. That's pretty fucking good too.
Sounds good to me.
What do you get at Starbucks?
If I go to Starbucks, I get a iced caramel macchiato with an extra shot of espresso. And
oh man, does it come with a fucking AIDS test? Or
no, you're clean after you drink one of those.
Oh, okay, good.
Who were we at here? Next, we have one of my favorite MMA fighters, John Bones Jones. Thank you very much, John. I didn't know you listened.
He just got disqualified from the UFC again. Next up, we have Vincenzo, Florida Man. Thank you, Vincenzo, Florida Man, for the patron pledge.
Olympus in Chains.
It's kind of like Alice in Chains, but a little bit older.
Or Pussy in Chains.
More pussy.
My limp puss in chains.
Devin Carter, thank you for the Patreon pledge.
Jake the Snake, it's about time you fucking responded.
Yeah, finally.
After we send you all of our research all the time.
And one of our favorite friends, Turd Ferguson. Turd Ferguson, thank you.
I love Turd Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
Cammie Raver. Love her work, too.
Thank you, Cammie Raper. Next up, we have Victor Ortega. Thank you, Victor.
Billy Bills, I'm gay.
Sorry for yeah, good for you. Congratulations. Yeah. Jason Andrews, thank you for coming to our show, not coming on us.
Whitney James, thank you very much.
A lot of pornography females on here. Ligma. Ligma is the next one. Ligma. Oh, I got Ligma. You got what? Ligma. What's Ligma? Ligma balls. Alrighty.
Therese, thank you very much.
Therese. I like that name too. I think that's Chursa.
Chursa.
Claire Oakey. Claire Oakey. Thank you, Claire Oakey Dokie.
JMR Castro.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah.
Eric Mobley, as in Mobley Dick, the whale with the huge penis. Thank you, Eric Mobley Dick.
David Allwell. Thank you, David Allwell.
Gregory Tuna Casserole Tunis. Gregory Tunis. This is in the Tunis of Brohio. That's what Tunis is in. Thank you, Gregory Tunis.
Sir Corbin Hill of Yorkshire.
Corbin Hill. He probably banks at fucking J.S. Jenkins, where he banks at. And a Simpasana Squash Banana Tammy Rafanti. Thank you, Tammy.
See what you did there. Rafiki.
A Simpasana Squash Banana Tammy Rafanti. Thank you, Miss Rafiki, for the Patreon pledge. And we had a really cool video to share with you guys. Let me find it real quick. 1 second here. Okay, the video we got for you this week is a Florida woman. She had to bite.
Of course, it's a Florida woman.
She had to bite a camel because camels are pretty wild in Florida.
They're mean too. Mean as shit.
Meaner than fuck.
Yep.
Ever since that one thing happened, camels aren't very happy.
The cigarettes?
The 100-year war or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cigarettes.
Joe Camel.
Joe Camel. And this woman got in a little fight with a camel. Looks like it fucking fucked up her ability to wear makeup because she looks like an idiot clown. So
she looks like Mimi off Drew Carey.
Here's a little
Drew Carey show.
Here it is for you guys.
But I never expected anything like this to ever happen.
Oh, God, to make her talk like
Lancaster's husband is a truck driver, so the two of them have visited the Tiger truck stop countless of times. But last week's visit is one they'll never forget.
Hold on a second.
Okay, so this truck stop has fucking a big field of llamas or fucking camels.
She's like, hey, Frank, pull over, because we're coming up on the gas station with all the fucking camels. We got to pull them over. We got to feed the camels.
Boy, gotta feed. And anytime you're stopping anytime you can stop and get gas, Funyuns, and chili cheese Fritos and feed the camels, bad deal. Yeah. Bad deal. So let's see what happened to, I can't imagine, probably, she looks like her name's probably Chursa or Shirley, I'm not sure. But let's see what happened to her.
Photos show Lancaster just minutes before she found herself being crushed underneath Jojo the camel, with only one way out.
But God will always make a way out where there's no way. And on my side of my face laid his testicles. I couldn't do anything with my arms. And I did. I'm not going to lie. I bit them.
Security.
She's talking like she's still got the balls in her mouth. He said, I'm not going to lie. I bit the boy on the testicles.
And when life gives you camel testicles, just bite them.
She said, God will always give you a way out. I remember when I was about 14 years old and I had an ingrown toenail. I bit my dog on the testicles and I got right on out of there. That got me right out of that thing. So I bit that camel right on the balls.
I wonder what sound the camel made when he got bit on the fucking balls.
Fuck, I don't know, man.
Probably cummed. Oh, yeah.
And I did. I'm not going to lie. I bit them.
Security camera footage reveals why Lancaster went into the enclosure. While it's hard to see, if you look closely, you can see Lancaster's dog runs underneath the barbed wire into the pen. That's when Lancaster went in to rescue her.
If I had to do it over, even though I'm hurting and I'm facing a lot of maybe surgeries, I would do it again.
Now, Lancaster admits she made a mistake not having her dog on a leash.
I was going to say,
the owner for the enclosure not.
Keep your damn dog on a fucking leash and you would have had to bit that camel balls.
You got to, when you approach a fence like that, you got to think worst case scenario. Okay.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, the dog goes in and the fucking camel lays on me. What am I going to do to get out? This is premeditated testicle biting right here. This was not. She knew going in.
It may have been sexual assault, honestly.
Has anyone even stopped to ask the camel if he's okay or she's okay? I don't know if it was a male or female camel.
Yeah, we don't know if it identifies how it identifies, but yeah, I mean that camel has a case.
Yeah, female camels have balls too. I think I'm not a psychologist, but I do know that there's something there.
Yeah, I'm not brushed up on my geology, but I think that's how it goes.
Secure.
The owner should have made sure. He says he's wanting a petting zoo, and he wants children to be able to come in. Make sure that it's safe before you put a child in that environment.
Make sure you teach your children to
Channel
bite
3
the camel's
reached out
balls.
to the Tiger truck stop, and we were able to speak with the manager, who says this is the first incident at their location.
None of this would have happened if they just would have had their dog on a leash.
Good point.
That's Pamela Bozier. Pamela Bozier. Pamela Boner Bozier. I got the pet camels out there. We got truck stop. We got all kinds of fucking whatchamacallits. We got Funyuns. We got Ruffles with the ridges. We got sour cream and onion fucking tater lays.
Hot dog rollers.
We got hot dog. We got tornadoes on the hot dog roller. We got fresh chili in the chili machine. We got Slurpees. We got Code Red on the fountain.
That shit hits.
We just got the new green monsters, the new lime green monster waters. We got all kinds of stuff in here. And we got camels out back. Oh, we just got the Diet Code Red, too. The boys love that. The truckers coming through because they all got fat hemorrhoids poking out. They got the fat, nasty buttholes. You know that we got to start giving them more of the diet sodas, so that's what we've been doing, is getting more of the diet sodas in here. And then that big old fat bitch came in here because she got sat on the fucking camel. The camel bit her on the tit. She bit the camel on the tit. She thought it was a tit.
Free in a truck stop.
Now, Lancaster is recovering from significant injuries, including a broken collarbone and bruised ribs.
Damn.
But she does not blame JoJo.
Someone asked me yesterday, what would you like to happen to the camel? Nothing.
I want to bite his balls
I
again.
don't want anything to happen to the camel.
I wonder if she break her jaw biting that thing on the wiener, or what? Why'd she all
I don't know, man.
slurred, man?
But camels have huge balls, though, so good for her. At least she can open up that big fucking maw of hers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I think what we should do, since we're already at the 15-minute mark, we'll save the Battlefield of Love for Patreon this week.
Okay.
And we have some good ones about someone that actually reached out to us that does sell their panties.
Oh, fuck yes.
Trying to get her to agree to an interview, so hopefully...
They're going to say a sample.
Yes, it is a sample. We want one with extra chocolate stains. I want a pair big enough that we can put on a camel. Oh, God. Shit, man. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
That poor lady. She looked like she was in some fucking serious some turbulence going on.
All jokes aside, I feel bad for her.
All jokes aside, I bet she had a ball out there. She had a ball.
We got Code Red.
Yeah. We got a Diet Code Red up on the fountain. Sometimes we got the little Hershey Squirt Wonder Balls. We got the chocolate balls. You eat inside of them, they got a toy. The trucker boys like that. They really like the fucking Jack Link's beef jerky. You got the teriyaki barbecue. We got the honey corn pepper. We got them tornadoes on the roller dog grill, too.
Those are so good.
Yeah, so I had some lady the other day. She had a small cup of coffee. I opened it up. She had it filled full of nacho cheese. I said, hey, lady, that's the goddamn $12 of nacho cheese right there. You're going to have to pay for that. She said, that's a coffee cup. I got coffee in there with that nacho cheese. These boys can put as much creamer as they pumps as they want in the coffee, but I can't have no nacho cheese with my coffee. I said, get out of here. You ain't getting none of that Diet Code Red. You ever had Diet Code Red?
I don't think No, wait, yeah, I have.
Pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Pretty good. I like Diet. Like when I'm still trying to eat better, do better things with my life.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I like to, just have a little moment, I'll have a Diet Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Diet Dr. Pepper's in its own class.
That's good. That's almost as good as the regular
It
Dr. Pepper.
legit tastes exactly like normal Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a really special episode with a very special interview with our friend. I just talked to him today, just met him this week.
Safe to say we're all friends.
Lou Valoze. And I don't know if we're friends. He may hate our fucking guts. I don't know. But he looks like a really cool guy. He looks like a scary motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
For starters. He probably beat the shit out of both of us, right?
He's what you would expect a man to look like. Yeah. Not like whatever we are.
Hey, what do you do? I'm an undercover ATF agent, and I fucking kill people for a living.
He's like 14 foot tall. He has 300,000 tattoos on him.
He looks like an undercover. He looks like an outlaw biker is what he looks like.
Yeah.
But Lou Valoze, let's see. This is taken from. So he's retired from the ATF now, and he does some training. He does some training. It's from Hard Knocks Schoolhouse.
Uh-huh.
He does some law enforcement training. But this is a biography taken from that website. It says Lou retired in 2016 from the ATF, better known as the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, who did nothing last night to help my sleep. Tell you what, the ATF really dropped the fucking ball last night, and I'm gonna let them know that right off Jump Street. I'm gonna say ATF dropped the ball last night. My dogs were up shitting all over the fucking house. My kids are up shitting all over the house,
and my kids did.
He began his career with the Department of Justice, Immigration and Naturalization Service, or is that ICE? I don't know.
Yeah.
In L.A. in June of 1991. And in July of 96, he served 2 years with the U.S. Marshal Service, and then he transferred over to ATF, where he remained under his retirement, effective November 2016. Lou spent the last 2 decades of his career working in an undercover capacity for long-term, high-profile, and complex investigations of organized crime groups, street gangs, murder-for-hire schemes, home invasion crews, outlaw motorcycle organizations, and conducting storefront operations. If you don't know what storefront operations are, you're going to learn all about those in this episode. Throughout his career, he was deployed to various areas in the country to work in an undercover capacity to infiltrate criminal organizations. Lou is perhaps best known for the undercover storefront operations he conducted, as reported on CNN and Discovery Networks. He was designated as a subject matter expert in storefront operations and long-term undercover operations by ATF, and through these investigations, he developed a unique investigative blueprint for removing crime guns from violent felons, gang members, organized crime members, and drug dealers. The 4 undercover storefront operations that Lou conducted in Georgia, where he served as lead undercover agent and co-case agent, resulted in the undercover purchase of over 1,000 crime guns and the conviction of over 300 defendants. During his career, Lou received numerous awards for his undercover work, including Outstanding Law Enforcement Awards from the United States Attorney's Office, Gun Crime Investigation of the Year Award from Project Safe Neighborhoods, Gang Investigation of the Year from the Project Safe Neighborhoods as well, and Case of the Year Award from the Organized Crime and Drug Task Force, OCD ETF. Lou was assigned to the Undercover Branch Special Operations Division at ATF headquarters to work as an advisor to field agents around the country for short-term undercover operations and long-term infiltrations of violent criminal organizations.
He has his little rundown here just makes you feel like shit, like you haven't done anything in your life.
Yeah. He conducted extensive training, mentoring, and guidance, as well as sharing expertise and best case practices to advance ongoing missions. Lou has provided mentoring and training to ATF agents and various state and local law enforcement officers in undercover operations and complex investigation techniques and procedures at ATF basic and advanced undercover schools.
Very impressive.
Unlike my wiener, that sounded like a mouthful.
Ayo.
I wonder how skilled he is with camels in terms of found himself being sat on by a camel.
So what would you do if a camel attacked your dog and then sat on you?
That's what I'm going to tell him. I'm going to ask him, I got to know. He just looks like one of those guys that would get mad at a dog just to, just beat it up.
Yeah.
He might like dogs. Probably a really nice guy.
Who does? I mean, yeah, people like dogs.
I've watched some of his videos. He's a really nice guy. So he just looks scary.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about him beating me up because it's going to be a Zoom interview. I know that, unless he's fucking watching somewhere already.
I'm sure he could find us if he wanted to.
He probably already knows.
He's already vetted us.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to put you on pause here for just a second, and then when we come back, we're going to have the subject of our interview, retired ATF undercover Lou Valoze. We'll see you in just a minute. All right, everyone. We are joined by our subject for this interview. He joined us on short notice Lou Valoze. I think I'm pronouncing that last name correctly.
You got it.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on the show with us on such short notice, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I will like to say that the ATF let me down yesterday. I was up till midnight. My dogs are shitting all over the house because of fireworks. I don't know if the ATF is in charge of fireworks or not. But
no, that's a state matter, brother.
I was cursing the entire U.S. government last night at 1 o'clock. The kids, the dogs are shitting. It was a whole mess. But
A whole fiasco.
this guy next door definitely has some mortar rounds. I'm definitely sending that tip in at some point.
No snitching.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm gonna take you through. I already read, so I went to the Hard Knocks Schoolhouse website, and I got your bio from there, and I read that before you came on, so you don't have to sit here and listen to all that. So I've pretty much read all that, which is a really good synopsis kind of your travels in a nutshell, I do believe.
Just laying the groundwork there for you.
Yeah, so we don't have to. We can just get straight to the good shit. But I will say I want to go through how I come to. I wanted to learn more about Lou Valoze. I bought a Harley a few weeks ago. And this past week, I decided I want to join the Hells Angels because I was ready to fucking kill some people.
Natural progression.
I was going to smoke cigars and I was going to do some bad shit, man. I started looking it up, and then it said, if you're trying to figure out how to join the Hells Angels on the internet, you can't join the Hells Angels. So I'm like, I'm like, instead of joining a motorcycle gang, I think I'll just learn about just learn about the culture, which led me to Mel Chauncey. And I was I was watching some interviews with him, reading a bunch of his stuff, and I actually reached out to him on Instagram. He's super nice, dude. He wrote me right back. Well, he sent me an audio message, said, Nick, buddy, I'm humbled that you've reached out to talk to me, but he's like, I am in negotiations and under contract with $7, whatever. He's he's with The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He said, I can't talk. He said, unless you guys got some fucking cheddar, I can't talk to you. I'm like, I don't have rock. I don't have rock money.
We're small fries compared to Dwayne.
Yeah,
there.
Mel's going Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
Actually, The Rock is his company is producing a documentary on Mel, and it's being directed by the Punisher.
Shit.
Wow.
John Bernthal, who wants to actually play Mel if it ever gets to a series. Yeah,
Good
and
for him.
those of you that don't, Mel was a former president of the Hells Angels
in Chicago.
He did some time in the federal pen, and he's out now. He's he's walking to a different beat. He's doing he's living the good life, man. But seems like an awesome dude. Seems like you guys are pretty good friends. It seems like a weird person for you to be friends with, but nonetheless, a friendship is there.
I tell you what, it's crazy. It was my mentor who befriended him, who locked him up, was responsible for Mel getting charged under RICO statutes, which I don't know if you guys know about RICO statutes, but they're no joke. And just a weird chain of events, so my mentor, his name is Chris Bayless, greatest undercover agent who ever lived, he obviously knew everything about Mel. He had listened to all the phones were tapped. He knew everything. And he knew, although Mel was a bad boy and had done some bad shit, it was all very contained in that biker world. So it was bad guys doing bad shit to other bad guys.
I'm kind of okay with that,
Listen, I'm not judging. I'm not there, in that biker world generally is very contained. Civilians see very little of that. Through interviews and jail, prison visits and all that, those guys that happened to both be from Southside Chicago and knew some of the same people. That's why when Chris was undercover with a part of the Hells Angels up there, he had to be very careful not to run into.
Because Chris he'd infiltrated. He was in the Hells Angels, right? Or he was.
He was a Hell's Henchman, which is a subsidiary of the Hells Angels up there in Chicago. And so eventually, after Mel's arrest, they became friends. Mel did his time. Mel got out, and Mel was one of the few guys who truly found God, and his redemption is real. He found God, and there's no posing there, man. It is legitimate.
Yeah.
And, him and Chris are actually started doing a dog and pony show together for
federal prosecutors, state prosecutors, and traveling around, and through Chriser, who I worked with, Mel and I became friends, and there's a couple other guys in my crew, and he's held my kids. We've been at each other's houses. It's a crazy story.
Yeah, it is. But he seems like you said, the redemption is there, and he's
it's for real.
He's got a powerful story, and I think I would love one day to hook up with him as well. I think.
His best friend is Hulk Hogan, so if
he's got a bunch of pictures.
Is around. Yeah, it's awesome.
His Hulk Hogan's pictures back there somewhere.
Yeah, he's up there. He's up in the top left.
We're big wrestling nuts. So
yeah, Mel did the wrestling for a little while. He was part of that.
When I was trying to join the Hell's Angels this week, I was trying to figure out how Mel was going to help me get this done. But I was going back and I was trying to hook up with Mel for an interview. And one of the first YouTube videos that popped up was Mel was at Monday Nitro, and Hulk Hogan was getting like beat up every week. So he's like, "I'm bringing in my guys, brother."
Was this NWO Hogan or was this? Okay,
and he brought in like fucking 50 Hell's Angels with him that rode around the ring, wearing their cuts and everything.
Oh, that's dope,
riding
dude.
around the ring, and like the biggest, gnarliest hog out of all of them was Mel in the front.
Shit,
he was jacked. He was like 6 foot, 340 pounds of just like pure brute muscle. It was the scariest looking guy ever, but he's still a mountain to this day. He's still
he is just the thickest dude I've ever been around.
Yeah, dude, he's a pretty good guy. That's cool. But nonetheless, enough about Mel. We got Lou Valoze here with us today, so we got to learn about your infinite travels. Now, in your bio here, it says you kind of you start off first year with the Department of Justice, Immigration, and Naturalization. How did that? That's kind of where your career started in 1991. How did that transition go from there to the ATF?
So I had originally, I wanted to be an undercover agent, and ATF was a hard agency to get into. Very small agency. So when I was, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of how it all started.
Sure.
So I played football at a Division I AA school in Pennsylvania, and didn't take my academic career very seriously. So I barely got out of college with like a 2.2 cum and a degree in business and economics, which I knew nothing about either subject when I left college. So I was working at a bank, making $9 an hour, miserable. And I got a call from a buddy I played football with, and he was in the Bronx. And he said, "Hey man, why don't you come down and visit?" So a few days later, I went down there to visit him, and he was at his brother's apartment in the Bronx. And I didn't know his brother, never met him. And this guy pulls around back, and he's driving a Corvette, which you don't see a lot of Corvettes in the Bronx. And this dude gets out. And now remember, I'm way older. This is still like Miami Vice days, right?
Nice.
Dude gets out. He's got the flowing hair, right? Kind of feathered. He's got the shirt open with the Italian smoking jacket, the wife being around. He's got a Beretta 92F tucked in his waist. And he got out, and I'm like, this is the coolest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. And he was a DEA agent.
Okay.
And he was working undercover. He had gotten back from Panama recently, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I talked to him. We sat down. We had a beer talk for about a half hour, and I was done. I knew what I wanted to do. So I just started taking all the tests, and I started working for a private investigator to get some experience. Just took all the tests, all the alphabet letter federal agencies. Mm-hmm. And I got an offer. I scored high on the test, which was the only reason I got an offer, because I had no experience. But if you had a certain score, they would look at you.
Okay.
And it was to be an INS special agent in Los Angeles. I knew nothing about INS. And
it's a hotbed to start right there, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. So let me tell you. So I went out there. I interviewed. Never been to LA before in my life. East Coast guy, and I got the job. They offered me a job, and next thing I knew, I was down at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Georgia, and on my way to LA. And it was the greatest time to be law enforcement in the greatest place in the world. LA in the early 90s was where the action was. The gangs were out of control. All the regular gangs were like the Bloods, Crips. They were all starting to find out that they were not prepared to deal with this influx of Central and South American gangs.
It's a bloody fucking war, man.
Yeah, I mean, the MS-13, they were huge
yeah.
out there. No one even knew who they were, especially on the East Coast at that time. But 18th Street Gang and MA, the Mexican Mafia, the Latin Kings, MS-13, I mean, they were just tearing it up. And
cutthroat dudes,
yeah. Oh, they were vicious. I mean, they were beheading people. They brought in a whole new level of violence.
Yeah.
And it was just a great time to be in law enforcement. And I ended up on a LAPD INS ATF task force in Rampart, which was one of the greatest places to work. This was during the riots. I was in there in the riots, the whole deal. And, I saw the ATF guys and we became buddies, and they were the cowboys, man. They were the ones doing all the undercover work. They're the ones who had all the respect from the real cops.
Right.
From the locals. Then they were the ones that every other agency wanted. Like every ATF academy goes through, it's all full of Secret Service and marshals and everyone, because everyone was waiting to get in. And I had a great run out there as an INS agent. And but there was no undercover work for a big Italian guy, right?
No,
it wasn't happening, right?
Yeah.
So I did a 2-year stint in the U.S. Marshals in New York and Puerto Rico for a while, and but all the while waiting for ATF to open up again. Right. They hadn't hired in like 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they finally put out a very small opening for, man, I want to say it was only like for 30 positions, and they were only taking people who were already agents, so that they didn't have to put us through the first half of the academy, because the first half of the academy is the same for everyone. So I put in, I got the call. I went to an interview at the World Trade Center in New York. And I got on, and they give you ATF gives you your first 3 choices. You lay 3 cities down, and they tell you, we'll try to get you in some order to one of those cities. So I said, man, I speak Spanish, right? And I'm single. So I said, New York, LA, Miami, right? 3 cities where everyone's trying to get out of, right?
Does say if you're going to go to any 3 cities, those would be the 3 you want to go. Those are the big cities in the States.
Yeah, in terms of action.
In action, as action goes, yeah.
And that's what I wanted. So, in the government's infinite wisdom, they hired me and said, we have a spot for you in Savannah, Georgia. So, I knew nothing about Savannah, Georgia or anything like that, but I'll tell you what, it turned out to be great. My partner, was just an undercover guy. He's a lunatic.
Those are guys. Those dudes are fun to work with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And a great undercover. He was down there. He had worked. He'd been in Augusta, a cop in Augusta, and come on to ATF. And he was just a dirty guy. Loved working undercover. Yeah. And we hit the streets running, man. And I mean, I was actually, before we even went to the academy, because that's how ATF did it. When you got hired, you got a gun and a badge before you went to the academy. So we were out there working undercover. Literally, I was working undercover the first week I got on.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Wow.
And we were doing cases. Before I ever even went to the academy, I had
on-the-job training.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, we had some of that stuff, and it was always we always got partnered with the "do as I say, not as I do" guys.
Yeah. Do you remember like your first undercover? I guess your first undercover deal where you were kind of like, this is the fucking shit, or
I do. My first deal was in a bathroom in a Crystal. Crystal? It's a hamburger place.
Yeah. It's like our White Castle. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a
shit your pants after you eat it.
Yep. Exactly. The same little square burgers White Castle has.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It was in the bathroom at Crystal's in the men's room with this dude who was like 6'5", and he actually took me right into the shitter. I mean, closed the door.
Oh shit!
I was like, man, yeah, and like we're like this, right? Because he's a big dude, and I was buying a gun, and I was like, man, if it's gonna go, it's gonna go, because there's no separation room, right?
Yeah,
his head's right in the toilet if it's got to be that way, and I bought the gun. That was my first deal in a Crystal public bathroom.
Wow, and that's when you're like, God damn it, this shit's for me.
And I became addicted. I mean, it totally took over my life.
Now, I guess, and just to preface this episode, there's going to be a lot of, I guess, we're going to talk about crime guns a lot. What's the difference between a crime gun an illegal gun, in your opinion?
I mean, I'm going to give you a fact. It's not an opinion.
Okay.
A crime gun is a gun that has entered the illegal marketplace. Okay. So if you own a gun and you're not a prohibited person and you have a gun at your house, that is not a crime gun. Okay. Right. As soon as a gun enters the illegal marketplace, okay, and it can do so in many ways. If you are a prohibited person, if you are an illegal alien, a convicted felon, a fugitive, if you've been declared a mental agitated, mentally deficient, there's certain criteria. And then you possess a gun, that gun you possess becomes a crime gun.
Okay.
So a crime gun can be a crime gun by who is possessing it at the time. It can become a crime gun if it's a stolen gun.
Yeah.
And it's been stolen and now it's possessed by someone who shouldn't have it. It's a crime gun.
Okay.
Or it can be a crime gun just by what it is, by the gun itself. If it's a shotgun that's, the barrel or the overall length has been taken down, under 26 or 18 inches, or a rifle, or if it's been, a drop sear has been put in to convert something to fire full automatic, and there's a whole category of those are called NFA weapons from the National Firearms Act. So it can either be a crime gun by the virtue of its possession or by what the gun itself is.
Okay. I just want to get the clarification there. I know we're going to have a lot of goddamn freedom fighters on our social medias like, the ATF's just taking our goddamn... The ATF is not taking our guns. The ATF's taking guns away from criminals. Your gun, your cabinet that's legally bought, whatever, they're not taking those fucking guns. No one's taking them.
I tell you what, that's a great point. I'm so glad you brought it up because, I worked with some pipe hitters, man, but no one in my 20 years with ATF ever went after a legally possessed fiurarm.
No,
ever.
Yeah.
There's no fun in that.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, the thugs and the gangbangers, that's the only people we were going after with guns, guns that were illegal and guns that were possessed illegally.
Yeah.
And we're all huge Second Amendment guys. And we're all NRA members and huge Second Amendment guys. Yeah. So, thank you for bringing that up because that's a very valid point. There's a few knuckleheads, but there always is, right?
You get those with everybody, though. I mean,
every agency.
Exactly.
So I guess your claim to fame, and I shouldn't say it's, it is what it is. The storefronts are kind of what, and there's a few magazine articles. There was a little bit that I was able to grab from before you and I could speak. So it seems like your specialty area were these storefronts. And I never even knew about these until I started reading about your story. And I would explain it, but I think you could probably do a better job of how the storefronts work, how in terms of, I guess, the ATF and their investigations and trying to nab the criminals. How do the storefronts work for you?
Yeah, storefronts became my calling card, which is why my book is coming out in December. It's called Storefront Life Undercover. They became my calling card by accident. It wasn't anything I did. It wasn't even anything ATF did. I had become just an undercover whore. I never said no. I did anytime anyone called me, they needed someone to do undercover, I said yes. I had done murder for hires and outlaw motorcycle gang infiltrations, home invasions, gang infiltrations. I was just doing everything.
Yeah, and just to set it up for our listeners real quick, you look the part. You look like a motorcycle outlaw that would cut someone's fucking throat right now if you had to. You don't. If someone said this guy's an ATF agent, you'd be like, no, he's not. This is a fucking banger right here. This is someone I want swinging the chain around. So you definitely look the part. So I can see how people will be knocking down your door to try and get you to go undercover for various shit because you look like you fit a lot of different genres in terms of criminals.
The street gang thing was more me. That's what I fell in better with and enjoyed, just the street guys. And because honestly, those were the guys that were sticking guns in people's faces when you go downtown, the street gangs. I'm not saying the motorcycle gangs weren't violent, but what I'm saying is if you took a tour across this country and you asked every police chief in every city in this country what their biggest problem is in their town or city, I guarantee you not one of them would say outlaw motorcycle gangs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the common street thugs, man. The street gangs.
Right.
And that's who I always targeted. And that's who I hate to use the word targeted, because that was always, yeah.
It's all right. You can say whatever you want here.
They just happen to fall in your lap.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Those were the guys sticking guns in people's faces. Yeah. And I found very naturally I could fit in with those guys. I wasn't trying to become a Blood or a Crip, but I would hit them from the outside. I was that hustler, moving guns up to New York, and they were making money off me, and that's how we dealt, and it worked very well for me. So one day, I get a phone call from an agent in Augusta, and he said, "Hey, the local police here arrested a guy, and they flipped him, and he's a tattoo artist.
Okay,
and he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go back to prison. He knows all the players. Augusta had a huge street gang problem. All you see from Augusta is the Masters, but the city it still does. But
yeah.
So anyway, he said they want to do a storefront. They want to do a tattoo shop, and he's going to be the tattoo artist, but they need an undercover. And I said, absolutely. I really didn't know what a storefront was. I knew, like, back in the day, NYPD had done some, but they were mostly like pawn shops just to disrupt fencing operations.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but this was going to be a tattoo shop. And I was in. I said, hey, whatever it takes, man, I'm in.
Yeah.
I went up there, and, we put together this place together. It was the Richmond County Sheriffs, that's a police in the Augusta area. It was their brainchild. We just came in because they didn't have the undercover resources, and feds always bring money to the table too. So
that's good. That's a big help.
Yeah, we started cold. Yeah. I mean, we started with a real tattoo shop, and the informant. There's always problems with informants. So we knew he could start bringing people in. He had been tattooing everyone in prison. He knew all the gangs. We had some informants. We even they took a picture of me in a U.S. Marshal in the lockup with the U.S. Marshal thing, and they had some informants go out and put the word out that I was at this place. And the informants thought they were trying to get me. So they were sending people into me to see if I would buy dope and all this. So that's how it kind of started, and things started trickling in. A few dope buys, small dope buys, couple gun buys.
So were you working at the tattoo shop? Undercover?
Yeah, every day.
Were you shooting tats, or were you just like sweeping floors, or what were you doing? What were you doing?
I was a manager.
Okay.
But my hustle was what it always was.
Yeah.
I moved guns up to New York to sell to my gangster buddies, and that was my hustle my whole career. Because if you're in the Southeast, it's very believable, because that's how firearms trafficking happens. Because that gun, that piece of shit 9mm High Point or Lorson or whatever that I could buy down here, at a gun store for $150, I could sell on the streets in Brooklyn for $1,000.
Holy shit!
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
And so, I mean, guys were really doing that. They were trafficking guns, and that was my hustle. And I always had the big. I had a moving truck, and I would show these guys what my game was. When I would buy up enough guns, I had it filled with furniture and stuff. And I would tell them, listen, I would get a gig where I'm moving someone from Atlanta to New York, and I would secrete all the guns in their stuff. And I would tell the bad guys I was buying from, so listen, man, if I get pulled over, if Johnny Law pulls me over and decides I got to look in the back of the truck, I can say, hey, man, I'm just a truck driver delivering furniture. I don't know nothing about what's in there. I haven't even, and they love that. They were like, oh man, that's
hell, motherfucking yeah.
Right. They wanted to be a part of that hustle. So that's how I would justify why I'm buying all these guns, right? Because who just buys a bunch of guns and drugs? Cops, right? So you had to justify it.
Yeah.
We did that, and we did something called street theater, where we would show these guys.
That sounds
and we would
fun.
actually get charges. Absolutely.
That
So
sounds
street
fun, yeah.
theater, and this was an ATF thing. We did come up with this. I mean, we wrote the book on this.
This is so cool.
So I would get let's say I was working a crew, like a local gang, and we did this in Augusta. We did this on the first one. I would tell these guys, I would say, listen, I got a deal. Let's say I'm selling 5 keys to these bikers. I never dealt with them before. I don't trust these fucking bikers. I need a crew of my own. Just all you got to do is stand there, man. I just, I need my own security team. And I said, I'll pay you. And they'd be like, oh yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Right. So that's it. That's all I would tell them. I say, listen, I'll give you whatever, $150 each. So these guys, and then I would get 5 real keys of dope. And I would have, some of my crew from out of town, ATF undercover guys who look like Hell's Angels or outlaws or whatever. Yeah. They would come in and we would do a fake deal, 5 keys with my crew, my real crew of bad guys, posting up at the door. But here's the kicker, and this is dirty pool, man. This is
dirty pool.
Yeah, it is. Listen to this. This is dirty government shit right here. So if I never told those guys to show up armed, but they all would. So when they show up armed and I would get them to show me their guns, sometimes they would even sell me the guns afterward. But there's a federal charge called 924C where if you carry or possess a firearm during a federal drug crime, that's an extra 5 years tacked onto your sentence.
Okay.
Because we were using real dope, these guys showed up armed for a fake deal. They got an extra 5 years for showing up armed.
Shit.
Yep.
Crime doesn't pay.
Oops.
On top of whatever else I had them for, they just bought another five years. Which again, some of this stuff was just you almost felt guilty after, even though they were gangbangers.
Yeah,
and
it was
shit.
easy, man.
Yeah.
And it's not even fair. So anyway, I'm just going to fast forward. We spider webbed, and the word got out in the community, and the guns just started coming in. Stolen cars, dope, guns. We were only limited by how much money we had in our cash box, basically.
Yeah.
We bought 430 crime guns in less than a year.
Yeah. Were these mostly cheap pieces of shit guns? Or were you guys getting like quality shit?
So I would say probably 75% were shitty guns, but then there was a 25% that were high quality, but those were almost always stolen. They had been stolen 10 years ago from a residential burglary or something. And God only knows what kind of story that gun could tell if it could talk. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Bouncing around from one hand to another. And but that's an impact. So I saw like you could infiltrate a biker gang and it might take you 2 or 3 years.
Okay, we had some audio problems. We left you when you said it'd take you 2 or 3 years to infiltrate a motorcycle gang, and we'll let you pick up from there.
All right. So the storefronts were such an impact on this society and on these communities. Like I was saying with a biker case, it could take 2 or 3 years of your life and your whole office, and everybody's just sick of it and done with it. And maybe you get 20, 25 guys who are patch guys, 20, 25 guns, whatever it is. You would do a storefront. We could do one in 9 months, 10 months, and we're indicting 100 people and getting 300 or 400 crime guns off the street.
Wow.
And like you said, whenever you try and mix in with the outlaw motorcycle gangs, you're kind of they're guys that they're dirty guys killing dirty guys. It's not necessarily you're not necessarily saving the community, but anytime you have guns that are being stolen out of people's houses and kind of the drug deals in the street where your kids get on the bus. Anytime you can take that stuff off the street, I don't know why anyone would want to have to stop and think about that.
I mean, these were the trigger pullers that we were.
So then, I mean, and just to lay it out, just for everybody to listen. So pretty much you guys had these storefronts that they knew they could go to get rid of these guns whenever they wanted to get rid of them because you guys would buy them. Then you could hem them up on that. Is that correct?
So we created the venue kind of for it, but we were very careful about not creating crime. In other words, we didn't want to open something up so that dudes are going out and breaking into a house just to sell me a gun.
Right.
So we were very careful, and there was ways that we prevented that. So basically, we bought guns were our primary crime guns is what we were there for, but we bought dope, and we bought a ton of dope, and we ended up getting into a lot of stolen vehicles as well. And then what happened was, this Augusta one was so successful, people heard about it, and it just started storefronts all over the country.
Wow.
So at the end of the Augusta one, I had gone up to Chicago to do actually it was an infiltration of a mafia guy who was also a member of the outlaw motorcycle gang. And
Jesus.
He almost had his own storefront up there, right? He had a jewelry store in Cicero out in Chicago where he was doing every crime known to mankind. It was a total front. I mean, he was moving all sorts of shit out the back, mafia guys, gang guys meeting in the back. So I'm like, wow, this guy's got a real storefront.
Yeah.
Right? He's doing it for real. and so my partner back in Georgia, he gets a call from a local police chief who says, hey, I heard about what you did in Augusta. I want you to do it. This was Statesboro, Georgia. Do it in our town, not a big town. And we said, all right. When I got done with that case, I came back and we started a new one. Now, we went from a tattoo shop to what I call like a head shop. You know, we sold all the energy drinks.
Bongs.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah, the drinks that flush out your system if you got a piss test.
Yeah.
Oh, the pipes for tobacco use, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And again, this is we're Statesboro, Georgia. You guys probably never even heard of it.
No. Nope.
There's an Allman Brothers song, Statesboro Blues. So we run that one for about 11 months, and we end up again indicting 100 people, and we get about 250 crime guns.
Yeah, just that short amount of time.
All the dope we could buy.
So here's a question that makes that I kind of wonder is that doing these storefront operations, like besides, but I'd say this with all due respect on everybody's part here. Besides the sheer stupidity of these people, what is keeping them from understanding it once they know people are starting to get hit that sell these things at these storefronts?
Nobody gets hit.
Oh, okay.
Hit at the end. So I might do a deal with a guy in month 2.
Gotcha.
And he won't get taken down until month 12 when we do the take.
Okay. And then at that point, you guys are switching storefronts?
Well, so what happens, there's a file on everyone. And now finding out who these guys are sometimes was very difficult, right?
Okay.
So some guy who we knew as Ray, right, would come in and he gets dropped off by a girl and the car is a rental car rented by someone else.
Yeah.
So, and he sells me a sawed-off shotgun, right? So we don't have much to go on there, right? As far as identifying Ray.
Yeah.
So we came up with ways to do this. So we would have giveaways. We found the best way to ID people is giveaways, because if you didn't want to give me your real name because you're a dirty motherfucker.
Yeah.
If I offer you something free, you'll give me your real phone number so I can call you.
That's
what kind of stuff were you guys raffling off?
It's like you guys were preparing for this shit. Like that's what's so awesome. It's
flat screen TVs was a big one.
Of course.
So we give away and back then like a 50-inch was impressive.
Yeah.
This 2008, 2009. So we'd raffle away. So Ray would come in and sell me a gun, and there'd be a thing on the counter, for a giveaway of a 50-inch flat screen. And I'd say, hey man, listen, I appreciate you taking care of me on this. Not for nothing. I'd say, just fill this form out, man. And I said, I'll crease it so I know it's you when we pick it. And we'd say name, phone number, email address. He would put something in there that we'd be able to get a hold of him for, right?
Take care of you, Ray.
That is so good.
Yeah. And when all else failed, right, we would even lift the prints off of the piece of paper.
Holy shit.
Genius.
I am very happy today, guys, and I can say much of that happiness has to do with the help that I got from BetterHelp.com. Maybe you have something that's interfering with your happiness, something that's preventing you from achieving your goals. Our friends at BetterHelp are here to help you. Today, they're going to help you assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. And it's not self-help. It is indeed professional counseling. You can send them a message to your counselor, and they're going to help you anytime. You'll get timely and a thoughtful response. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, all without ever having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room, no matter what you're dealing with. LGBT matters, grief, self-esteem, anger, family conflicts, depression, stress, anxiety. Our friends at BetterHelp can help you today because they are convenient, they're professional, affordable. You can check out all the testimonials that are posted on their website every day. And in fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. And I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener of the Brohio podcast, you're going to get 10% off your first month, which is a really good deal, guys. Go to betterhelp.com/Brohio. Again, join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health today. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com, betterhelp.com/Brohio.
So we had to come up with ways to identify these guys. So if I bought some stuff from Ray Ray and then I cut him off, because let's say I had him up to like 20 years of charges, there was no need to pile on.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I would tell a guy, I would say, we're early in the storefront. I don't really need, if he's not going to introduce me to his supplier or someone better, if there was nothing else in it for us, I would cut him off. I would probably say, listen, hey, bro, we're going to cool out for a while. The cops keep riding by. I don't know what's up. I guarantee we never saw him again once we said that.
Definitely.
Right? So that's how we would just freeze him off. And he wouldn't, 10 months later, SWAT was knocking his door down.
Man.
Right, because of what he did.
Did I get the flat screen, though?
Did I win the flat screen?
But he got a flat screen. Right.
That's smart. That's super smart.
Yeah. I mean, and usually we didn't even do the giveaway. We just wanted to get the real name.
Yeah. I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Did you ever have any close calls there at the storefronts for your, because you kind of had a storied law enforcement career up to that point. You kind of had been in the field for a lot of years. I know there was, and that's the thing now, I haven't been in corrections for 10 years now, but I still see dudes on the street that I recognize from being locked up. So I know that you were probably seeing maybe a person here or there that might have recognized you. Did you have any close calls like that?
I kept so invisible in my private life up until the point where I fucked everything up in my career. I had kept everything so invisible that I really didn't. In the storefronts, the biggest problem we had was robberies and burglaries.
Mm-hmm.
So you had all these gangs and bad guys coming in, and they knew we were always cash heavy, right? Because we're buying shit.
Yeah.
There's cash, right? They knew we were cash heavy. They knew we were criminals, so we're not going to fucking call the police if we get jacked, right?
Yeah.
But what we made sure they also knew was that we always had guns on us. So we'd be showing our fucking guns all the time because the same dudes you might do 10 deals with on the 11th deal, they'll fucking stick a gun in your face, right? Because there's no honor among thieves, man.
No,
very true.
On multiple occasions, we had guys show up to rob us. On multiple occasions, we got burglarized by guys when we watched the video we'd been dealing with. They've been selling us dope and shit, and then they come back at 2 a.m. They fucking break in and steal all our shit.
Try and get that fucking flat screen, bro.
trying to get that shit back and get some more money out of it.
Yep, and we had the problems that no good dirties have when you're in the street, right?
Yeah.
You get robbed, you get jacked, the usual shit. But you always have something, always plan ahead for all that shit, because we always had a cover team, right? We had a room, we would rent the business next door as well. And we had a room next door with a cork board or whatever in the middle, that we're putting shit on, but it was on hinges and the boys could pop their long guns right through and save our asses if necessary. We had the oh shit buttons under the counter.
Right.
Yeah.
All the counters were Kevlar lined by our tech guys, did all that stuff that we could just duck, while the other guys would come in.
Yeah.
So we did it. It was as safe of an environment as you could possibly create in an undercover world. You can't control what the bad guys are going to do, but we controlled everything outside of that,
Yeah, it sounded like they kept you guys pretty taken care of.
Well,
that they as far as they could.
Just to kind of give you the evolution to kind of bring it to a close, what we did was, with every storefront, we got bigger and better, and we made tons of mistakes. We hired a guy who we had already bought dope from, and a gun, and he was a multi-convicted felon, and he was on parole, and his girlfriend begged us to hire him because part of the condition of his parole was he had a job. So we gave him a job, and he was there every day with us, which was hard in an undercover setting to have someone who can't know what it really is.
Yeah.
Right. And this guy was a good dude. I mean, he was what he was, but because there's a lot of downtime in the storefront, right?
Yeah.
You might do 8 or 10 deals a day, but in between those deals, you're shooting pool or whatever.
Right.
And
Talking shit.
we all got really close with him. And I mean, he was a product of his environment. I'm not making excuses for, any criminal behavior, but he was a good dude. I mean, I spent a ton of time with him, and he would have jumped in front of a bullet for me before some people in my office would have. I can tell you that.
That's powerful.
And he actually thwarted 2 of those robberies I was telling you about.
Holy shit.
So put his body in between us and them because they knew him.
Yeah.
So, at the end of this operation, it was a Statesboro one, me and the other undercover guys are like, holy shit. Petey was his name. We were like, Petey's going to get fucking arrested. Petey's going to prison for 20 fucking years. We've been working with this guy for like 8 months every day.
He's a good fucking dude.
Yeah. I mean, we begged, we asked the U.S. Attorney's Office not to, and they were like, usually we try to help, but this dude's rap sheet, we can't,
Right.
So that was the only time in my career I actually got up on the stand and asked the federal judge to go down in a sentence, to downward depart.
Wow. Yeah.
And he told me to fuck off, basically.
He
said he wasn't helping you because you were law enforcement. He's helping you because he thought you were a fucking gangster just like he is.
Yeah.
And 20 years.
Did you ever get to have a word with Petey after that, or?
No, but when he got locked up, so now they throw him in the county jail that the marshals have a contract with the other 99 bad guys who all have seen him there and think he's a snitch.
Fuck.
So he tried to hang himself with the bed sheets, but they got to him. And no, I think he's about to get out of prison.
Yeah.
And he's a big part of the book I wrote because, me and my partners had sleepless nights over this guy,
Yeah, I bet, man. That's
one of our many mistakes we made. And then as we went along, the storefronts got bigger and better. The next one we did was a military surplus store with a shooting range attached to it.
Oh, all right.
I mean, think of the possibility, right?
Right, yeah.
it's like a Walmart for criminals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And, we had glass countertops with these incredible cameras. You couldn't see that. So if a convicted felon came in, he wanted to shoot his gun, we tell him, listen, we got to check the gun out. And we could put it right on the countertop, and the cameras were catching the serial number, and they were identifying all the marks on the gun.
Man.
And yeah, so and then from that one, we went to a
It's so fucking tricky.
It's so fucking cool is what it is.
dirty pool, man.
It is. Yeah, it is.
And now guys all over the country are coming up with phenomenal ideas, man. And I got sent all over the country to help guys on these things, like a great tattoo parlor in Vegas, just all over the, like, car washes, you name it, tow truck services, just phenomenal storefronts all over.
That's good.
And we kind of, the big kind of finale was we actually became freight forwarders at the port.
Wow.
That's all the shit.
We had an import-export business, and we actually got into Bolivian gun smugglers. We got into the biggest car theft ring on the eastern seaboard.
Holy shit.
And it was still a storefront, but it had just grown,
Yeah.
And the guns and the quality of criminal. Now we're still dealing with the street level thugs and gangbangers, but now we're dealing with this higher level criminal, these organized guys, organized crime. And, we're not that smart. We're street guys. Right. Well, so I had to start calling in a little more sophisticated agents who, can now talk money laundering and that kind of business, because I'm, how much you want for that gun, right? But that's what these storefronts became. But like everything good, it had a run, and it was it. Congress got sideways with them. Everybody made some, they exaggerated mistakes that were made. You could take any long-term undercover operation and pick it apart Monday morning, quarterback the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Our idea of success was we got guns out of the hands of bad guys and we went home alive.
Right.
Success,
Yeah. I think that One thing, I guess, more of a personal question. I think that you are really living of some deep. You were living like in terms of being undercover. That was some deep shit that you were living, and you were living it for hours upon hours every day. And I know that sometimes it can be hard to leave work at work. And how is it affecting your personal life with, I guess, having to live a criminal lifestyle by day and then not be a criminal when you clocked out at the end of the day?
So, I fell, I got too involved. I lost track of my priorities.
Sure.
I missed a big chunk of my kids' lives.
Yeah.
And my moral compass went astray somewhat. My name was Sal Nunziato. And I became a little bit more Sal Nunziato than I was Lou Valoze, and my wife didn't marry a fucking gangster, right?
Right. Yeah.
She married a guy with a college education, and now she's living with a fucking gangster. And,
right.
So I made mistakes. I made huge mistakes in my personal life.
Sure.
That came back to haunt me in my professional career.
Right.
And, I kind of lost track of my priorities, which here I am. All my best friends, my buddies are undercover guys. So I couldn't see it because they were all doing the same fucking thing as me.
Yeah.
Drinking ourselves to death, washing shit down our throats we shouldn't be washing down, with vodka and whiskey, and just fucking burning the candle at both ends and living in that red. We were just living in that fucking red, that 8,000 RPMs all the time. And something bad, that engine's going to blow after a while.
Yeah, sure.
And I think that's one of the things that not a lot of people notice is like you said, you were, while you were working, say, working 8 to 10 hours a day as Sal Nunzio. I mean, you're that guy, and it's hard to just turn that off once you go home. And then, but once you go home, you're going to sleep, you're waking up, and you're doing it all over again. So it's like it's a horrible how that's one of the things that we talk about all the time when coming from the law enforcement background is like it makes you miserable. Like like you take all of that emotion, like when you're filled in such a negative environment home, and then it's just like nobody really, it's like it's hard to work around.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I had a guy was telling us, it was a cop, and he had been in a violent encounter. Gun was discharged, just real bad on the street. And he was coming home that night. And when he walked in the door, his wife was like, she had been out of her mind because the fucking printer wasn't working at the house. Right? Whatever she was doing, she couldn't print because the printer wasn't working. And, he was saying that, like, to her, like, that was bad shit in her world.
Yeah.
Fucked her day up.
Right.
And he's like, wow, I almost got fucking shot in the head.
Right.
But, he goes, man, I didn't learn. He goes, what I should have done was taking the time to listen to her talk about the fucking printer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And express herself and say, man, that really sucks. But, we, law enforcement, sometimes we get so wrapped up in thinking what we're doing is so fucking important that we lose sight of what's really important with our families and our friends.
Wow, that's
right.
powerful.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be empathetic when you're put in like such a, especially when in your situation where you're taking a job where you're running off adrenaline, like, you know what I mean? You're getting that sense of danger and life-threatening stuff, and you come home to the normal, everyday, trivial things that we face as human beings that, you don't think about when you're living on that side.
Right.
And it almost becomes you can't even recognize it anymore. It's a weird thing, real weird.
Yeah, there's another partner of mine, great undercover guy, Richie Zayas. So him and another guy, actually Chriser, that guy, were the consultants on that. You remember that terrible movie Miami Vice that Jamie Foxx and something did? That was actually based on a case that those two did. And
that's cool.
So they were the kind of consulting and stuff. And Richie was telling me they were out with those guys for the premiere. They took them to the premiere. It was in Miami, and out till like 4 a.m. And he goes home after that, and the next morning, his wife is like, "Look at the fucking grass. Are you kidding me? It's embarrassing. It's fucking 8 inches tall. The neighbors are looking when they drive by." So he says he's out there like mowing the grass. He's like, literally like 5 hours before that, Jamie Foxx was serving me drinks. Now my wife's yelling at me and I'm mowing the fucking lawn. You know what I mean? So it's hard to come back down, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, those normal things that you deal with every day.
I think I read that you were in one of your undercover deals. You were brought in as like a UFC fighter, an MMA fighter / motorcycle outlaw. What was the deal or the story behind that?
So that was the Chicago case, and that was the guy who had a jewelry store, and he was in the mob, but he was also a fully patched member with the Outlaws, which is motorcycles.
Yeah. Man,
he it was a big deal because it was kind of a marriage between the mob and the one percenters.
That's a powerful fucking
I was going to
marriage
say,
right,
exactly.
And so he was a big fan of the fighting, and I was brought in, and it was the guy I was telling you about, Chriser, my mentor. He came up with the idea. Now the FBI had thrown 3 guys at this guy, and he had sniffed them all out. 2 of them were dirty cops that they had flipped. They were all guys he knew from his childhood. And the dude was just smart. He wasn't a convicted felon. He was smart.
Yeah.
There was no crime he wasn't into. No crime he wasn't into. And he was a sharp dude. So they sent me in cold. And again, no credit goes to me. It was all my.
What do you mean they sent you in cold? What's that mean? And you're.
So there was no informant. There was no introduction through an informant. I mean, okay. I went to his fake ass jewelry store cold. Yeah. Which he really didn't even let people in. Like, so he had like bulletproof glass, and there was like 3 partitions before you even got into this place. It was just a total front. But he had the sign out there. It was called Goldberg's Jewelers, and it was a sign that said "We buy gold." So Chriser went to his dentist and said, he goes, "What do you do with the gold fillings when you pull someone's tooth out with the fillings?" The guy opens a drawer and he goes, "Oh, these?" And there's all these fucking big teeth with gold fillings, crusty blood and shit on them.
Fuck. Oh, I'd have puked all over the goddamn place.
He hates teeth, so yeah, he would have died.
Chriser goes, "Can we buy those from you?" And he says, "Sure." So he buys ATF buys them, and we're actually working with the FBI at that point. They might have bought them, but anyway. So he sends me in cold. He puts all these fucking blood-stained gold teeth in a Crown Royal bag, because that's how thugs do all their
Crown Royal bag. That's class.
Yep. And sends me, and I go in knocking on the door. There was a Mexican check cashing place next door. So when I rolled up, I went in there to do some whatever. I don't know what I did. Like I got a fucking money order or something, just to have a reason that I was there. And then I had a cover story. We had prepared one out, and I go and I fucking knock on the door, and we knew the dude was in there because they had actually done a black bag operation. They had gotten a warrant to go in there. They had broken in at night. When I say they, we had all the cameras on this guy, so they could see what he was doing. They just couldn't catch him. So I went up cold, and he comes to the window like, "What the fuck?" And I said, "Hey, man, I seen you got a sign that says you buy gold." I said, "I got something for you." And I take the Crown bag and I fucking drop all the fucking teeth on the counter. Are you fucking kidding me? So he goes, "Take the gold out." So I'm like, "How the fuck do I take the gold out?" Like, oh. So he gives me a hammer and pliers.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like on the floor, like banging these things, trying to get the fucking. I don't know if you ever tried, but
no.
Yeah, it ain't happening.
That's actually what I'm doing as soon as I'm done here.
Yeah.
I get them from people in the community, and then
yeah. I think he was almost amused. So after a few minutes, he's like, "Give me those fucking things," right? And surprisingly, he fucking got him out in no time.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he weighs him out, and this was like my tiny little opening with this dude, and he didn't trust anyone. He goes, "Who are you? What are you doing?" And blah, blah, blah. So I told him I was in town, and they had already I'd already been at an MMA gym training, like my backstop and the whole deal. So I told him what I was doing. He was actually intrigued by that.
Okay.
And so I said, listen, I said, I told him, I said, this is from a guy at the gym. I said, his wife works at a dentist and she fucking stole him. And he didn't want to bring him just in case. I said, so he told me he'd give me half of the money if I brought him. And I said, what if I get some more? He goes, bring him. Fuck it. Come on back. And that was my invite back. So he had this tiny little partition, right? It was all bulletproof glass and with a little turnstile that you would put him in.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew I got him all this huge, like hoodie sweatshirt from the MMA gym because I knew it wouldn't fit through that. So on my next visit, I brought him. I knew he would have to open the door to get it. And that might like get me in. And it did.
Holy shit.
So, I mean, that's how slow it started. And eventually I was able to get my way in. And it was a long, tough case, but it worked out well.
And like you said earlier, anytime you're dealing with the outlaw MCs, they kind of take they're really, really long, and they don't necessarily get the payoff that you want.
No, it's a lot of man hours and it's a lot of time and a lot of heartache and the bang for the buck. The bang for the buck was with the storefronts. It was not with those.
But that puts kind of in perspective everything we've talked about at this point. And one end of it, you're making multiple trips to a gold dealer with fucking knocked out teeth to get God knows what convictions. But then on the flip side, you're making, like you said, 8 to 12, 15 deals a day at these storefronts, getting dope, guns, stolen cars, all this shit. So I can see where one would pay off more than the other one, but you're on the floor breaking apart teeth, getting cold at it.
So the dude just feels sorry for you.
Like, I'm just trying to get in the fucking back to see what the break room looks like.
I mean, he was a tough nut to crack. He to get to the back room took me months. Where the deals were happening and the stolen shit. So I mean that's just for one guy.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, if the ends justifies the means. It's
right.
But I mean, hey, you got him.
And I think we've talked about this before. The amount of fucking money that goes into the investigations, government wise. So at the end of this, whomever is conducting the investigation, when they look at this final fucking price tag and they see that it cost $120 million for this or whatever it cost, and they get 5 guys locked up for plea deals, and they get 5 years. That's not called blowing your load. That's called leaving with blue balls.
Yeah.
But if you can,
there is that one agency who's, I'm not going to say their name, but their initials are FBI, and they are famous for, just blowing wads of cash and getting no results.
Yeah.
And I saw it firsthand, man.
Yeah, that's the nature of the beast, I guess.
Yeah,
and it happens for many years.
When they screw up, nothing happens to them. Congress gives them more. They tell Congress, we wouldn't have messed up if we had more training, and they give them a couple $100 million more for training.
That's what happens when you have endless funds. Money talks. Money talks.
Now, did you ever have, any cases of where you thought you had possibly been spotted undercover? Maybe someone that knew who you were, kind of from your past or anything?
It did happen to me in a storefront. My golden rule was never to leave the storefront because bad things always happened when I left.
Yeah.
Right. It had to be contained in the storefront. We were working a crew that had a car wash, and it was just one of those car washes where they were just selling dope and guns.
Yeah.
Right. And I went over there once. The dude used to charge me extra money because he was like me. He didn't leave his place usually, right? He did his dirty business at it where he was safe. Yeah. And I told him, I said, this is why I do mine. So he would charge me extra money to deliver me. If I was buying 3 or 4 ounces, he would tack on an extra couple $100 because he drove a Jaguar. He was like, man, I'm taking a chance and all that. So,
yeah.
So I don't remember the exacts, but I told him, listen, man, I'll come over to you. One time I come over, right? So I go over there and I walk in, and there's this old white dude who just looks familiar to me, but I can't place him. Like, fuck, I've seen that guy before. He looked at me, I looked at him. I just got a bad feeling.
A Bort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
And I had my two partners with me, and I was like, man, let's not hang out. Right. And we roll back. We go to lunch because one of the undercover guys was visiting from out of town. He wanted to go to Paula Dean's restaurant in Savannah.
Hell yeah.
I had put some butter.
Dude, by the time we get there, my informant's calling me going, the bad guy's name was, I can't remember. There's so many of them, but he goes, holy shit. He goes, the dude in there is telling him that you're a fucking cop.
Oh, fuck.
No.
And I'm like, fuck. And right when he said that, I remembered where I knew the dude from. He was one of the old guys with the blue jackets that the marshals hire to be at the front of the federal courthouse when you go in the magnetometer.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, what the fuck would that guy be doing at this dope fucking selling car wash?
So there's no doubt that he knew who you were.
And he dined me out.
Yeah.
He dined me out to the dude. I mean, you know, he never admitted it, but he fucking, there's no doubt he was there buying dope.
Sure.
And so I was like, now what the fuck do I do? We're right in the middle of this storefront. So I said, well, there's only one thing to do. I said, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to kick that motherfucker's ass right in front of me. Right? That'll fucking.
I was hoping you were about to say they're going to have a fake funeral for you.
Yeah.
No, I'll drive over there and I'll kick this old man's ass. So I went over there and the dude, he had left by then. So I went to the bad guy. I said, hey, fuck this. I said, I don't give a fuck who that old man is. Get him back here right now and let's get to the bottom of this. I took my wallet out and I gave it to the fucking bad guy. I said, you look at all my shit. This is who I am. This is where I live. You know, I just made a whole show of it.
Yeah.
And I think the bad guy was like, hey, dude, I believe you. He was like, calm down, man. You know, and we jacked the old guy up, man. My boss had him in the office and they jacked the fuck out of him. So
yeah. I mean, that's worth a fucking beating right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn, man.
Yeah. I got my guy in there picking up fucking gold teeth off the ground, and you're trying.
I mean, I told this dude, I said, dude, I get it. You recognize me. Why would you fucking tell that dude? Like, what? Like, whatever. But anyway, yeah.
But that,
so it has happened. Very rare, though. You know,
right.
That's very rare.
But that kind of, that can take down your whole that can ruin your entire investigation. As simple as it is, it can ruin the entire thing.
And, you know, it's not like I'm alone in these things. You got a team and you feel like such an asshole, all this hard work and all, you know, all this shit. And you just fucked it up for everybody,
but
you know?
Yeah. I mean, you've been in law enforcement your entire life. People are going to recognize you from.
Yeah. It's probably bound to happen to probably everybody at least once.
Yeah. Which is why, you know, like most of us, I know I was, you know, for almost all my career, I was just invisible. I wasn't part of any groups. I didn't really do much.
It's probably better that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whenever, I guess at the end of the day, I would have like this, your undercover, your new name and stuff. And your, like you said, you had a driver's license with your name and your address, but how would you get home from, did you guys go back to the office and then go home, make sure no one was tailing you, or how, like, did you actually live in the place where you told the bad guys that you lived?
Yeah. So, you know, we had undercover houses, and it depended on whether or not you were working in town or out of town, but, you know, everywhere we were, we had undercover houses. Yeah. And then we always went back to the undercover house.
Okay.
You know, and then when you would sneak home late at night or on weekends or something, we would always do counter surveillance and all that to make sure no one was tagging us.
Okay. Yeah, I can, and like you said, I guess going back to the undercover house with a bunch of other, whatever, if you were there with other agents or whatever, I guess the only thing that there is to do is fucking booze up and
talk shit.
Yeah, talk shit.
Yeah, you know, and after a while, you know, the drinking is just, it's out of control.
Yeah. Well, have you already written? You have one book that's been released, or you?
No, one book's all I got in me. It took me 4.5 years, 4.5 years, and 4 co-authors, but I finally got it.
And when can we expect that?
I think you said December, right?
December.
Yeah.
So I got a couple buddies of mine have been helping me out. You know, the DEA Narcos guys, Steve Murphy and Javier Pena. I don't know if you saw that show. Those guys are buddies. Javier wrote the foreword for me, and Steve did some editing for me, and he wrote a nice blurb for me. And I'm actually on their podcast, which comes out in I think a week or two.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, we're shitheads. We edit ours in like 20 minutes and we put it out. Those guys probably have weeks of editing. But
We don't do a lot of cuts, so we're pretty much straightforward. Like end to beginning, what you get is what you get. We don't put too much after production or anything like that. It's just it's a conversation. Yeah. We like to keep it natural and like a conversation between all of us friends. We're having a good time. We'll definitely once keep us posted on the book.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on again when the book comes out, because that'd be a good.
If you guys can have me on, late November, closer to December, I got plenty more stories, especially about how I fucked everything up in the end. We'll go into that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
I did.
What's the, I didn't want to get into.
Yeah, I was gonna say we didn't want to get into it, but
I can't hide it, right? Google me.
Most of the time, people. But you retired honorably. In my opinion, you retired honorably. And when I was reading through everything, it's the one thing that gets you in trouble in law enforcement more than any other thing. And it's not even anything illegal.
No.
And without going any further, it was just that thing between the women's legs.
We can make that a part 2 before the book comes out.
Yeah, there you go.
I would
Exactly.
love to. And if you had, I guess, in your entire, was it 24-year career in law enforcement? 26 years. And what was the one, I guess, that one moment that you like to hang your hat on to say that I got the fucking bad guy, and that was a bad guy? What was the one, I guess, investigation or one long drawn out thing that you hang your hat on?
That's an easy one, man. It was a murder for hire I did. It was a doctor who hired me to kill his wife, which is a very bizarre kind of off. The majority of murder for hires that we do are usually, it's usually some fucking scumbag who's locked up, who's trying to get a witness or a prosecutor killed or something.
Yep.
And a lot of our murder for hires, we actually go to the lockup, to jail, and with recorders and in visitation and do these or whatever. But this was a doctor. He had actually been the doctor for the LPGA tour.
Oh shit.
Yep. And he was very big in the community, well respected. And he had hired me to kill his wife. And I had given him multiple outs, like we always do. Listen, man, there's no fucking putting the toothpaste back in the tube, right?
No, there's not.
Right? When you give me the fucking signal, it's happening. It can't be undone. And are you sure? And his only thing was he didn't want the daughter killed. The wife had a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think she was like 14 at the time, and he didn't want her killed. And he had asked me how I was going to do it and all that, and I told him, my thing was it's a robbery. It's a fucking robbery, a home invasion. And she fucking struggled, and I kill her. I take all her shit, and I kill her and leave her dead. And he said, sounds right. And
Jesus Christ, man.
And I told this guy, I said, listen, man, it'd be even cleaner. I said, if you give me the gun. I said, give me a gun to do it with, and I'll throw it away after. And he fucking gave me a gun. He gave me a 38
Wow.
and a down payment. And just to kind of close that out, he went to trial. It was a huge fucking case. He got 18 years. It created case law. Went to the Supreme Court because we got him on a federal charge of using a cell phone as an interstate communication device in the commission of a murder for hire.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Now, even though, listen to this, how this worked out. Even though we were both in Georgia, he was in Brunswick, Georgia. I was in Savannah when he made some phone calls to me about it. When he made that call, it bounced off, because Brunswick is right over the Florida border. It bounced off a tower in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And then up to my phone. So that was the interstate nexus we needed for a federal charge.
God damn.
So, and again, dirty pool, right?
That's not dirty pool. That's getting the fuck out of that, guys.
A little, but I mean, hey.
He deserved it. But anyway, so that actually created case law. That his lawyer was Eddie Garland, who I don't know. You guys remember the Ray Lewis case when he
stabbed that guy?
Yeah, he killed those people and didn't really do much time.
Right.
When he shanked a bunch of people?
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
So Eddie Garland got him off. That was his
good attorney.
Oh, shit. Good job.
Good attorney.
Yeah.
And that was his attorney, and he was good. So it went to the Supreme Court. They ruled in our favor. And just to close this out, a couple years ago, I was at a restaurant that's on the water here in Savannah, Georgia, and this young waitress, man, she was like 22, right, whatever. She kept like staring at me. Right, she wasn't our waitress, but she kept walking by and looking at me, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this?" My wife's like, "Who the fuck is that?" Right. So anyway, at the end, we stand up. I got my daughter and everything. We stand up, and this girl comes up to me and she goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I said, "No." And she said, I'm not going to say her name, but I'm so-and-so. And she said, "You saved my mother's life."
Oh, man.
She remembered me because they actually had to bring the mother in at some point during the case because they were worried maybe he had someone else he was hiring as well in case I didn't work out.
Wow.
And she actually, I mean, you can imagine being told that, "Hey, your husband's trying to kill you. Here's the undercover agent he hired."
Yeah.
I mean, she lost her shit. The daughter was with her because she wouldn't. And, she actually pulled her shit together and made a few calls for us, like to set up the takedown. So,
wow.
And this girl remembered me, and she says, "Hey, I want to thank you for saving my mother's life." And so that's one of the most rewarding things.
Man,
that's what I was gonna say. I couldn't imagine what that felt like.
Certainly something to hang your fucking hat on, man.
Yeah,
because that wasn't a typical ATF target, right? We were
right.
We were dealing with dirty, low down motherfuckers, right? Not doctors ever,
Yeah.
And I like what you just said about the one thing you don't really think about a murder for hire investigation is at some point the victim knows, like, "Hey, my spouse is trying to have me fucking killed," and she has to live inside the house of that scumbag, knowing that he's paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to get her wiped out.
Yeah, what a thing to hear, man! Right? Like,
how does that? And just to end things right now, how does that come? How does that investigation fall into your lap? Are you just like on Craigslist, like, "Oh fuck this guy, we need someone to kill us"? Or how does that fall into Lou's lap? Is it picked up by the ATF and then you're just tasked with, "Hey, you're going to be the hitman," or how does that?
So this is the craziest thing about it. On his property, he had a guy living there because this is very close. It's Brunswick, where the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center is. He had a guy who was living there who he was buddies with, and he was letting him stay on his property as like a tenant. And this guy was a firearms instructor at the academy.
Oh shit!
But he was like a former like, I don't know, secret squirrel, special forces kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the doctor had approached him knowing he was kind of in that world, because a lot of those guys go out to be like mercenaries and shit, and had asked him a couple times, "Hey, do you know anyone? Because I want to fucking knock off my wife." And eventually, listen, this guy was like, "Man, I think this dude's serious." And he fucking went up to the closest ATF office, which was Savannah, and told my boss. That's how it came about.
It's that fucking easy.
Yeah, it's that fucking simple. Yeah.
Oh man, crime doesn't pay. How much was he going to pay to have her killed?
We never got to a final price. They took him down before that. He had kind of given me a green light, and they were like, "Fuck that, we're taking him down."
Yeah.
Good deal.
Oh man, that's good shit, man. That's good. And I just want to say, I know that it sounds like you kind of wrestled with the mistakes that you made over the past, but I just want to say thank you for your sacrifices that you did make to try and make the world a better place. Because at the end of the day, that's all you're trying to do, man, is make the world a better place. And sometimes that comes with some pretty tough sacrifices, and it takes guys like you to do that. So I want to say thank you and commend you for the job well done that you did perform. And
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
It really,
and especially recognize, that you made mistakes along the way, and I'm sure you've corrected them mistakes, and it's good. It's good story.
You got a good story, man. You got a good heart and a good soul and a good story, and don't let anyone ever fucking try and take any of that away from you. So we're proud to call you a friend. We're proud to have you on the show. Thank you so much. And what's the name of the book coming out again?
So the book is coming in December. It's called Storefront Life Undercover.
Fuck yeah. And I see you have a podcast that you guys kind of stopped around December, but I was listening to that's good shit, man. If you had someone that help you that knows what they're doing, you could make some fucking money and get some people listening to it. I'm just telling you, buddy.
It's just me and a buddy. We've had some good guests, man. We had Sheriff David Clark. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah. And you had,
we had the Narcos guys who were buddies, and Eddie Gallagher, the Navy SEAL. We had some good fight pitters on there, man. we have fun with it. But I like doing podcasts like your guys better, man.
Yeah,
You know?
we're some wild dudes.
We just like to talk to people. I mean, it's especially real interesting people that have a really good story and good shit that they've been through.
You're hands down my favorite interview thus far in 4
Definitely.
years of talking to cool.
Well, let me tell you guys, the greatest storyteller in the world is Mel Chancey. So I will make sure that as soon as Mel is done with his contractual obligations with The Rock, he comes on here, man.
We'd be honored.
You'll love him, man.
We would, that would be killer. I'd love to get you two guys together. That would be quite the fucking task right there, wouldn't it?
I feel like we could just sit back.
If you go back and watch ours, we had him on.
I watched. There was a 2-parter. It's good shit, man. You got good content there. You need someone behind you that knows what the fuck they're doing. That can, you could do a lot with it. You have a lot there, so good.
Well,
shit.
right now. I'm the book, and I've actually had Hollywood sniffing around the story.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
we'll see.
That's
But you know
good
how
stuff.
they are out there. A lot of promises, but no one's writing a check. You know.
Well, someone was sniffing around us trying to get us on a Bigfoot show. They want us to live in the fucking woods and hunt for Bigfoot for 3 weeks. I'm like, I gotta have Wi-Fi for that stuff.
We never heard anything back from that. I'm kind of bummed out.
It's all right.
It was like Naked and Afraid, but we're just gonna get raped by Fat and Afraid. Just get raped by a Bigfoot in the wild. There's just a guy in a Bigfoot costume.
Hey man, listen, I'm tuning into that. If you guys learn,
Right.
All right.
Well, we appreciate you big time. It was an awesome time.
Well, that's
Great.
Lou Valoze. He's a well-traveled, tons of awesome stories. He's gonna have a book coming out in November, December. We're gonna have him back on the show then.
Definitely.
We're gonna be a part 2 about. We just talked about building the empire. I guess the part 2. We'll talk about the
and the fall was hard.
the demolition of the empire.
The ruins.
Yeah, well, you're a killer dude, Lou. I really do appreciate it. And catch up with us anytime, brother.
Awesome. Hey, God bless you guys. Please keep in touch, man.
Yes,
You
sir.
too,
Take
man.
care.
Appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
All right, take care.
See you.
All
Lou
right.
Valoze. Man,
Lou Valoze.
what a cool fucking dude, man.
Super fucking cool.
And
yeah.
now that he's off, I just didn't want to come off too sexually violent, but what an attractive guy.
I was literally sitting here texting my wife the entire time, like, this dude is so fucking good looking.
Yeah, I'm going to use his. He's got some really good pictures on.
Yeah, he does.
On the internet of
Yeah. She tried to get me to get his number, but I wouldn't do it. I'm like, I'm not losing you to him.
I have his phone number.
So I'm like, nope.
I'm not giving it to you. But
Like, you're gonna leave me for this, man. You're not.
This guy gave me his phone. So, big thanks to Lou. He's got a killer story, and that's the end of his story, the end of his career, 26 years.
Yeah.
To put it in a nutshell, he was having relations with someone else, an attorney that I guess could have been a conflict of interest. So it's not like he was like a dirty fucking cop or anything.
No.
He was a good fucking cop.
Nothing scandalous. He was just He's a man.
He's a fucking man. If I look like that,
right,
I'd be sucking my own dick all the time. Give me that dick, Lou.
I mean, but hearing him tell the story would be, that's literally the TLDR version.
Yeah, and I didn't want to ask him about it because, I've had some falls from glory in my life.
Sure.
I've done some shit that's fucking,
Yeah, we're all human. We fuck up. It happens. I mean.
But he said, you know what? I fucked up. But
yeah,
all it takes is, it's not worth saying, but he should be fucking proud of his accomplishments.
Yeah. I mean, it's like building a house of cards, one little bump and that fucker just tumbles down. That's all it takes.
And god damn, man, just living that life. Just,
man, I could imagine
living those storefronts, breaking the gold teeth up on the desk.
Man, I see. That's the thing. Like, I don't think I would have been able to survive. Dude, something like that much adrenaline.
I want to call him back and ask him what his fucking balls are made of. They got to be made of tungsten or.
Oh yeah.
He's got bigger balls than those camels from the beginning of the episode.
Beginning of the episode. Oh, no doubt, dude. Yeah, he just bleeds adrenalines.
Yeah. God, man, what a cool fucking story. And he's friends with the president of and I was going to join the Hells Angels this week. They had a little online submission thing.
All it takes. Just one weekend, just put in an application. They just
like how I told her, here's how I found you. I was going to join the Hells Angels this week. This mother, he's
looking at you like, okay.
He just rolled his fucking eyes as soon as the episode started. Poor guy. He didn't know what he was getting himself into.
Oh, man.
A bunch of couple fat shits.
It's always nice to throw them off their game right at the beginning. So they're like, are these fucking guys real?
Gotta keep them loose.
Yeah,
you gotta let
exactly.
them know that we're here to fuck shit up. He's here to fuck shit up too.
You know, I'm glad he enjoyed his time though. That's always good to know that, you know, they didn't hate their lives like, you know, some.
Well, coming in, I was looking at his pictures and looking at his interviews, and he's pretty squared up, man.
Sure.
And I'm thinking, I'm not gonna be able to make this guy laugh at all.
Yeah,
I'm a
right.
fucking retard.
Right.
But he was cutting up pretty good the entire time.
I think he still probably thought we were a little retarded. But it's all with the fun of it.
He's probably in the living room right now talking to his fucking hot ass, whatever she is. I don't know, wife, girlfriend, whatever. You wouldn't believe these fucking idiots.
These bunch of fuckers that I was just talking to.
These couple fat dudes from Ohio. I think they might have been gay with each other. They were fiddle fucking each other under the table. Man, cool story, and I'm glad I got to tell him thank you for the sacrifices that he made.
I appreciate the hell out of him for doing the interview and for you for, you know, nailing it down. It's a
wow. Yeah, this is last second. There was no plan.
Literally last second.
I think this is one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, it was either we had to do an episode at the last minute today or not at all this week, and you nailed down a really good interview. So yeah, props to you.
All right. Well,
I definitely couldn't do this without you.
I think teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
Hey man, that's what we're here for.
That's good shit.
Yep.
Thanks so much for joining us this episode of the Bro IO podcast. You got an hour and 41 minutes out of us. I think that's pretty good for a night that we had nothing planned.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some shit next week, too. Don't know what it is. Don't know if it's going to be as cool as this episode. Probably
not, but we'll figure something out.
Probably not. I'm working on a couple other interviews, and I had one, and there's one other interview that I was trying to surprise you with.
Man, I love doing interviews, so
it fell through
okay
until September.
Okay, don't tell me.
But I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
Okay.
It was planned for this past weekend. It fell through. Well, let's guess. He's a professional wrestler.
Oh, shit. Okay.
One of the greatest of all time. And he went from WCW to WWE.
Okay.
He's no longer in WWE.
So I'm guessing he went in during the invasion.
Before the invasion.
Okay, before the invasion.
I think.
Are we talking 90s?
This dude's got a long fucking career.
Okay. So
young. He was young in WCW. Went to WWE. Had a pretty good career in WCW. Had a monumental career in WWE. He still wrestles, but not in WWE.
Okay. That narrows it down. You said that and I initially got super excited because I was thinking X-Pac.
Bigger than that.
Okay, I was like, that'd be fucking great to get Sean on the show.
It makes X-Pac look like you and I in the Indies. He's the GOAT. He calls himself the GOAT. Okay, he's got a really big fucking rock band.
Jericho?
Yeah.
No, you fucking didn't.
Yeah.
You did not get fucking Fozzy on our fucking show.
It's Jericho. But
no
they had
fucking way, dude.
COVID opened things back up, so they had to shuffle some things through. We're likely going to get him hopefully, fingers crossed, the guy that's working it for us, he said that he'll have some
Talk is Jericho, man.
Availability towards the end of August, beginning of September.
Holy shit, that would be amazing.
I said, we just want to talk about aliens. We'll just talk about aliens. And they're like, it'll probably, we'll do this. So,
oh my gosh.
It's still kind of in the balance, but I'm going to keep working at him.
How can I just ask him alien questions?
I know. Talk is Jericho, honey.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah. He's like top 10.
I was going to say top 10 easy.
Yeah, I would say top 10 for sure.
And he's one of the only old heads still wrestling.
Yeah. Gonna try and get him on here. I've got
he's one of the main reasons that fucking AEW is a thing.
Conversation is open, or we're in touch with their people. I would say their people's in touch with our people, but our people's you and I.
Us.
So we're in touch with his
man, dude. That's exciting.
And his entertainment and social media's producer, whatever. I don't know who the fuck it is, but
man, I hope that comes together.
That'll be awesome, won't it?
Man.
All right, guys, this is the Bro IO podcast.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We do appreciate the hell out of you.